half was more like, Spurs got the goal. Obviously, it was a big deflection. And then Chelsea coming into the game and 2 goals chalked off. And then obviously the red card incident. So, Amit, what did you make of that incident, man? Do you think it was a harsh call? Do you think those try to be as biased as possible? I mean, as unbiased as possible. Sorry, my bad.
I got your
As,
hint.
yeah,
Yeah.
as and neutral as possible. But seriously speaking, Spurs have had fair share of luck, I would say, this season until now. Until now, the red card changed things a little bit. So, did you think at first instance that was a straight red card?
First of all, I would like to talk about like Chelsea was coming into the game after probably 20th of minute or so for just few minutes, because from the goal that Kulusevski scored from the 6th minute to the red card incident, 35 minutes, there was the game that got played was about 10 to 12 minutes only, right? And because there are a lot of VAR checks that have been throughout that time, so there was a 4 or 5 minute window that they were playing good football, where these 2 goals they're talking about. And the second goal that chopped off you're talking about is the one in which you get the penalty as well. So
Exactly.
that gets cancelled out, right? You got a penalty and you scored it, so that chopped goal is compensated on that front. So that and the red card, see, I understand the foul, that it can be dangerous on the player, but if you see that foul, I would, what I have seen is it was not like he was out of control while hitting the ball. The ball he hit and it went, like he cleared the ball, right? Just not passed it or just touched it by something. It was, he properly cleared it out, and then on the follow up he hit the player of Chelsea, right? Was it Sterling or not sure. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, what has happened is that on the follow up, it looks dangerous, but what I feel is in your D, when the team is attacking you and you want to make a challenge, you have to make the challenge. It's not like you cannot play safe at that point to make sure that it did not hit somebody. And in that case, if you get the ball, I don't believe you should get a red, because you are supposed to make that challenge. It's
But
not in a halfway
but you,
line that you don't have to make that challenge. You have some play somewhere you can go back and defend or something. You have to make that challenge in your D.
but the no
He's
the
actually
I
right,
question
actually
because
so strongly don't agree with that.
how
no
will
the
he
question is
clear the
that
ball? Like,
yeah
how are you supposed to clear the ball in this kind of situation? Like, this will this will give hint to the attackers that whenever somebody is clearing the ball, just go and dive on him. You will make contact with him, and then there will be a VAR check, and then you'll say high boot and dangerous foul play. So I mean, like, this is one of those, again, subjective calls. I don't think this is as bad as some other thing, but I think red card was really harsh on
Yeah.
that, because how is a defender supposed to clear the ball? Like, what is the other way?
no yes
Yeah, I mean, if you
look,
have,
the thing is that it is always about how he made that challenge, and could he have cleared the ball in a different way, because you go two-footed, almost two-footed, and you clear the ball, you leave your foot after you've cleared the ball, right? And that is a dangerous challenge. You obviously, it's a subjective call, and you can leave, and obviously you can say 70% not a red card, 30% red card. Right? Now it boils down to interpretation. So I want to ask Abhay Maheshwari more about this particular challenge, because I personally feel because of certain circumstances with Arsenal, he's seen a lot of these decisions either go in their favor or against it. So you will have a very good reference point from this season and from past seasons. So I want to ask your opinion, man.
I actually think that since it was Spurs home, right? I think Romero could have gotten away with it just because it was
Home advantage.
Spurs home. Yeah. Spurs
So
home, and
I want to ask one thing. Do you
also,
believe is that a thing? Home advantage.
I actually think there's a bit of a thing, but I'll come to it
Okay,
a little
sure. Go ahead.
later also.
Yeah.
Also, I think he could have also gotten away with it for one other reason, is because these refs keep on saying that we want the flow of the game and whatnot, and it was 33rd minute, right?
Mhm.
That is the reason why I think he could have got away with it. Having said that, I also believe that refs have a certain image of players, and Romero has an image, right?
Oh
He,
boy,
That
he
is
has.
right, he has an image, and with good reason, right? As in, he comes from that kind of a
like
place.
he has a
He
record,
loves-
no? Yeah, 2021 from joining, he has the most red cards in
He's
PL.
to give into context, when Xhaka came in, he was considered very reckless, and he had the same number of he has the same number of red cards as Xhaka in almost 3 less seasons, right? So obviously, I
There
think
are
that
some
also
I
kind of
exceptions as
knew,
well.
proves.
I knew, man, in my heart that you'll find a player from Arsenal. I knew,
Of course,
and you
No,
of
did.
course.
Ajay, there are some exceptions as well. Juan Mata has more red cards, and Marcus Rojo has none.
Which is kind of, oh my
Kind
god,
of
that
crazy.
I
That
think
is
it's something to do with
crazy.
it's something to do with the
Yeah.
fact that probably Rojo did not play those many matches, I guess.
Ah,
Due to
obviously he
this
was
Whenever
in,
he
he was in
played,
the
you know how
hospital.
he plays.
No, but Romero has that kind of this,
Yeah,
which I
that is
guess
fact.
actually played against him at this point of time
He can be
in this
erratic.
particular
That's well documented.
uh, in this particular
Nice
case,
reference. So,
right?
okay, about this okay, red card incident,
But
Spurs down to
Actually,
I would say,
Uh,
as a
yeah.
neutral, I would say, like as unbiased as possible. I
Hmm.
think it could have gone either way. I'll be
Yeah,
very
yeah.
honest, and like I like I would feel bad if I was a Spurs fan, if I was hard done by it, but I would still find it in myself to accept it. It didn't feel like,
Hmm.
oh, this is not possible at all,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? It didn't feel like a complete lack of coherent judgment. It felt that अच्छा कुछ तो देखा ही है करके, right?
See,
That's
actually,
what
we,
I felt.
you
that
know,
is
you
what you
take that.
agree. Go ahead.
Uh, yeah, just you have to add a little bit to context to that particular incident as well. The ref was actually playing a little bit lenient till that particular point. The game was
Uh,
very, very physical,
yeah,
and
yeah,
everybody was like clattering into each other. The midfield was chaotic. Spurs has this way of defending from the back as well, and everybody presses up a little bit. So everybody clatters a little bit, and the ref was letting it go quite a lot. And at that particular point, now when that particular challenge happened, it is for me, it is very similar to kind of what Curtis got. Uh, he got the ball, but still got the player, and it was a dangerous play because the way he got the player. Now we also did not like that Curtis got that red card, and I'm pretty sure that Khanna also doesn't like that Romero got the red card. But it is a little bit of a similar kind of incident where your follow through is actually hitting the player's leg and your whole tackle is dangerous. And I also, by the way, do not agree with the fact that just because you have to clear it dangerously and you don't have any other choice. If
Okay,
you're going to break
again,
somebody's
okay,
leg while
at
clearing
least,
that,
at least,
you're going to get a card. That's what I'm saying.
at least the
You
group
can
has
get a yellow.
established, at
No,
least the group
Yeah.
has
So
established
when
the
it
fact
went,
that,
hmm,
at least the group has established the fact that it was a subjective call, and
hmm,
I'm pretty sure even Amit is not enraged by the. Yes, he feels hard done by. Obviously, there is bias involved,
hmm,
And
but
I would
he is
actually
not
add
a
to what Abbas' point, right? That
it's not a
at
clear
hmm,
and
till
cut
this point, it
obvious red
was a
card.
lenient. The game was going lenient. So
hmm.
I would expect the referee to hold that, right? You cannot just switch ki nahi, ab main lenient nahi hounga.
It was
This
actually
is the
became too
point.
dangerous though, man. It was
Huh.
That
So
the
that
more lenient
again
his goals.
that again
Yeah,
is a subjective topic again, my
correct.
friend.
yeah. Again, yeah,
because
yeah. True.
because one thing we have to establish one thing, right? And
Hmm.
with the fact that is established that subjective calls in the Premier League with current day and age, with the current rules, can go either way. You cannot be
Hmm,
thinking in a player's mind that, okay, the referee is brilliant, right? I can be a little reckless. No,
hmm,
man.
hmm,
If I'm the referee, if I'm the VAR, okay, like I've mentioned previously, referees have lost authority. I am lenient,
hmm,
but he was
hmm.
called onto the VAR. Referee did not give the red card. He was still lenient.
Exactly. Hmm,
VAR
hmm.
are different set of people, right?
Right, right.
And VAR,
Yeah.
they may not be lenient. They saw it
Hmm,
differently, and they called him
hmm.
to the VAR. Yes, you could say that referee should have stayed with the decision, but that doesn't happen. The percentage is
Yeah.
very less.
Hmm.
Once you
Very
get
less.
called
Yes.
onto the referee,
yeah, yeah.
Hmm,
the decision You
Yeah,
have to
but
change.
again, if you
Hmm.
believe that how you are letting the game to be physical, so I would expect these kind of at least 50-50 or 60-40 calls to go on a other way, because you want to moderate this game in a more physical
Again,
manner.
I want to come
But
to the
I'm
point of
fine.
Al-
home advantage. Again, I want to come to
hmm.
the
Yeah.
point of home advantage, which
Also,
Abhay
it's a
was saying.
derby. It's a derby.
It's a
It's a London
derby.
Hmm.
derby. You know,
I don't.
so that is why even as a Arsenal fan, I was like, okay, maybe they could have let this go on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's the
For the
timing
sake of
of
the
it,
game,
whatever.
man.
you
But
don't kill the
I
game,
mean,
man. Kill such
yeah.
games.
But
Also,
Rajesh's point is actually spot on. Even if referee was playing a little bit lenient, once you get called on VAR, it is now you are on a display now. So you have to make a decision, and at that point, you cannot be lenient. I think
And
maybe.
one more thing is that if that decision would have been like a penalty and
uh,
a yellow card
Hmm.
for Romero, and
uh,
I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure Chelsea would not have complained either.
True.
Yeah,
True.
That it was that kind of a decision,
correct.
and
True.
that's why
Hmm.
it leads me to also
It was
believe
uncalled
that
for.
referee,
Hmm.
yeah, that's why it leads me to believe that, man, referee could have allowed the game to flow. I mean,
Probably. Yeah.
we'll
Hmm.
call it VAR, call it whatever. I mean, call it, forget all the leniency and all that bullshit. Allow the game to go on. There was a moment after the red card towards the end of the first half, additional time. There was an incident they were bullshitly checking. Reece James clattered onto a Spurs player. They were checking if he meant that hand on the face.
And
Man, he's
yeah,
just
yeah,
jumping. You're checking that also?
This is
Man,
very irritating, man.
very
This is
yeah,
very
irritating.
yeah, yeah.
irritating.
I
True.
mean,
Hmm.
so
Football
that's
is a game
I
that
think
should be like a flowing game, right? It should be
Hmm.
people call it as a running game, right? But this
no,
VAR checks keeps on happening. Like it become 3 3 minute ka window wala
no,
game now.
actually,
Three
it
No,
minute
doesn't
then
happen
ball,
every
I
three
time.
think
minute and ball.
I think
Doesn't
this is
happen
a
every time, but
situation.
this particular game was like that. Yes, Manish,
Also,
I
go
it's
ahead.
a,
think
it's a, it's a, it's
The
a, it's a
situation you
game of
mentioned.
working men. You're going to get physical. It's going to happen, and you keep on saying Premier League is physical, physical, and then you go on to make these decisions where a person touches his hands on the face and he's like, "Ah, violent conduct," and then there are people literally elbowing and hitting you where the ball is not there, and you're giving nothing. Like there is,
Hmm.
I mean, in the heat of the moment, it's difficult to understand and whatnot, but there should be at least certain level of consistency. How can you be the best league in the world and your refs are, for the lack of better words, utter shite in these conditions?
Hmm.
I mean, that's what you're paid
Hmm.
for. That is your job. In any day job, anywhere you are, if you have a bad day at the office, somebody lets you know, somebody holds you accountable. Out here, you're just like, okay, it's done, it's done. We'll see what goes on.
No,
We'll go
But
to the
yeah, that's a
championship for
different
no,
one
I
topic.
game.
suppose
I mean,
like
it may
the
seem that.
situation that happened with the red card. I think the referee was stuck there. Like suppose like if it's a last man and you make a tackle, then you
Hmm.
have to give the if you give the foul, you have to send that person off. That is the kind of rule
Hmm.
that you have with the last man tackle. So now
Okay.
in this penalty incident also, it could not have been that way that you mentioned. Like they could have given the foul, the penalty, and yellow card because the
Hmm.
ball was not in play. It was already cleared. The reason they were checking for a penalty was serious foul play. So if you are
Hmm.
giving it a penalty, you have to give him a red card because you are saying it is a foul because of serious foul play. So you have to send him off.
Maybe.
You cannot give a yellow card and then give a penalty for that reason. So the
No,
referees
not
were
that.
stuck at that moment, I think.
Also, Manish, I just want to add one more thing. Actually, there's like VAR only checks red cards. Okay, so you cannot go to VAR and give yellow because you're not checking. VAR is
Exactly.
not checking
No,
yellow card.
VAR
It checks
also
red
checks
card.
penalties. Like
Yeah, yeah,
No,
penalties
no,
and red
it
it
cards
is
is
not like
no.
basically.
What he's saying is a good point because he
Hmm.
is called onto the monitor to check one
Yeah.
incident, not two
Yeah.
different
Hmm.
incidents. He
Exactly,
was
exactly.
called onto the monitor to check one incident that was serious foul
Hmm.
play, and he gave it a red.
Exactly.
That's it. Penalty
So
to
if you give
thigh.
foul, if you give
Penalty to
नहीं
foul,
thigh.
then it's a
penalty तो
red.
इसलिए था because it was a foul, a serious foul play.
Hmm.
तो
Like you couldn't
consequence
have
हो गया
given,
ना.
yeah, you couldn't have
Consequence
given a
हो गया ना.
penalty and a
It's a
yellow card
consequence.
there.
Yes.
That is what I'm
Hmm.
saying.
Uh,
Exactly,
so
exactly.
so
Yeah.
great.
Good point.
So let's move on from this incident a little bit. I know it was a little bit, call it controversial, but coming from a Spurs fan himself, he also
Hmm.
understands that it was a subjective decision and it could have been not
Correct.
given a red card for the sake of the game, man, because
Yeah.
you pay big bucks to actually watch an even game, two teams
Hmm.
battling it out and one coming out as the winner. Call it whatever. You can gain undue advantage in a game through a red card, but that's not what you pay for to watch. And I believe I echo the same thing as